you want to create a new map, you know, wherever you bought your ECU from, if they didn't give you a startup map, you can create one from scratch. You just go here. They do have a bunch of sample maps, but they do. You can navigate through here. LS engines, pretty common one. Drag Race V8, and honestly, these are great files to start with for most of the guys that are out there, especially with the harness setup. And you pick your injector size. Since this is not a V-based ECU, selecting the correct one for the injector that you're using will help tremendously. This is a pulse width table. This is not a true VE. I do have an option for VE, but that, and if you want to look at that in VE, that's really up to you. I use milliseconds personally, it's a lot easier for me. But if you want to create a new map, you just go to New. Select the ECU you want. Just say it's an FT 500, 600. O2 closed loop. Most of us are going to be using that. Turbo cars, 3-step, 2-step. Burnout mode. That's good to have. Line lock. I'll talk about that in a different section. Gear shift output. Guys with automatic transmissions that have shifters, shift solenoids. They want an output to shift it automatically, you can do that. Stage control, basically bump box for turbo cars. Let's see what else we got here. Internal data logger. You'll need shift light, fans, fuel pump. I'm not going to use any of that stuff. Wastegate boost control. That's common for a lot of people. RPM activated output. If you're using any of the Fueltech harnesses, you'll have to use this for the smart coils. That's how they have you set it up so you don't burn up the coils. I'll show you how to set that up in a different video. Active traction control. I'll talk about that as well. Flex fuel. Safety gear control. I won't be using that. But you set it up for your application, right? So we hit next. We're going to do a V8. And we'll just say leave that alone. And this is the firing order. So whatever engine you're using, Ford, you can do a custom one. You got some, different camshaft with different firing order, which they actually have here too as well. But we'll just select LS, seems to be the common engine. Crank trigger, Hall effect. That's for LS. Anything LS, square wave signal. I'll talk about that in some other videos as well. VR differentials, it's 2-wire, like an MSD magnetic pickup with 2 wires. That's what that's for. I'm sorry, VR differential, not VR internal reference. In our case, we'll be using Hall effect. Cam sensor, must use cam sensor if you're gonna do any type of sequential for your coils and injectors. Firing once every 720 degrees with a V8. For this is a 60-2. They have a lot of different options for whatever trigger you're going to use. The 12-1 is a common one for guys, and you notice I'm talking about mostly V8 stuff because it's normally what I deal with, but it doesn't really matter. The engine's an engine. Reference angle. This number is just an arbitrary number. For LS, it's 78. Depending on your setup, if you have aftermarket crank trigger or different engine combinations, it's all different. But for the LS 58X wheel, this is a good starting point right here. And this is for your ignition sync, which I'll discuss also in a different video. For us, we're going to use sequential. It's individual coil packs, 8 coils. Falling edge, this ignition output, this is real important. just set it to falling edge Spark Pro. Rising edge is for like MSD boxes, and then this is obviously for a Honda distributor. FT Spark if you're using one of their CDI boxes. And let's see here, sequential. This is going to be a V8. And fuel flow. We'll just pull the calculator up. I'm just going to pick an arbitrary number here. Just say this thing flows. You got 8 injectors and they're 1200 cc's, right? Times 8, 9600. Let's see, is this in pounds per hour? It's in pounds per hour. So 120 pounds. Times 8, 960 pounds an hour. Okay, and you got to figure out your own injectors. You know, if you're flowing, you know, pay attention to your base pressure. You know, as the base pressure goes up, the flow rate of the injector goes up, so that's important. I'll set this to 0.8. Go next. TPS. If you have an electric throttle body, you can select that. No throttle pedal. Most of us are going to have a throttle position sensor. Auto air control valve. That's up to you. Electric throttle. PWM valve is a 2-wire valve. That's probably a better one to use in my opinion, just because it doesn't take a bunch of outputs out. The stepper motor takes 4 outputs. If you're just a basic NA setup and you have enough outputs, you can use that. But for this race car stuff, no, actually. Click next. The alcohol fuel doesn't matter so much, but you can just set it, pick whatever compression ratio you have, low, high profile cam, and then it'll generate a map for you. It'll ask if you want to view the wiring harness. You can. This is cool right here because you can print it out, you know, and you can see what, you know, what goes where, and when you're wiring up your car. But that's how you set up a base map for FT Manager. But yeah, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think of the video.